Welcome, Army fans. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com with your delayed version of our post-game analysis from the Tulsa game. I was unavailable yesterday during game day, so catching up on it now. And Army wins, of course, dominant fashion, 49-7 over Tulsa. Game was close in the first quarter, and after that, Army just took over. Uh, Most impressive, probably is that it wasn't a typical Army game. If you looked at the stats at halftime, Tulsa actually had more rushing yardage and double the time of possession of Army, and yet Army was up 21-7. Army had nine explosive plays on which they scored six touchdowns. Two long 60-plus yard runs by Kanye Udo, two long runs by Bryson Daly, and then two long Bryson Daly passes to Noah Short. Uh, to start the scoring, actually. One play, Tulsa left Noah Short so wide open. There was nobody on that whole half of the field, which was crazy to me. But anyway, I think the cool thing is that Army's offense showed that even when their triple option isn't clicking, and it really wasn't in the first half, they can beat you now in numerous ways. The offensive line is really skilled. It's about time we give props to the offensive line. Coach Monken called out their play in a positive way in the first half. They dominated Tulsa. To Tulsa's credit, Tulsa was good against the run. We knew that coming in. They had held opponents to 3.6 yards per carry prior to that game. So no surprise, they were good against the run. Well-coached team. Kevin Wilson does a good job. Very young team, a lot of freshmen starting at Tulsa. Army's offense just actually was able to take over and dominate with some big explosive plays, either where they just beat Tulsa athletically or Tulsa left guys wide open, uncovered, blown assignments, whatever. So nothing wrong with scoring with explosives, something we're not used to at Army, but something good teams can do really well. So it's kind of cool to see a different kind of offensive game from Army. Bryson Daly had an amazing game again. Threw for 160 yards, 5 for 5 through the air, which is really cool. I'm sure I didn't see his efficiency rating, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Um, had another 100-yard rushing game. He ran for 110 yards. Kanye Udo only touched the ball six times, had 137 yards and two touchdowns. That's pretty impressive when you get a touchdown every three times you touch the ball. And, Bryson Daly throwing for two touchdowns on five pass attempts, also pretty impressive. Dwayne Coleman finished off the scoring with his first touchdown run late to give Army the lead 49-7. That was with the entire second team offense in the game, and even third string QB Cale Helms got in for a little bit there. And of course, Noah Short had, I believe, 121 yards receiving, three touchdowns. Army had 480 plus yards total offense. Again, really dominant offensive performance, 1 yards rushing and 160 yards passing. No turnovers for Army, although Bryson Daly did put the ball on the ground once and made a very questionable pitch to Noah Short that Noah made an amazing catch on, one-handed, kind of behind them, and turned it into a first down. Really, really athletic play by Noah on that. I don't know if I fault Bryson too much for pitching it there. It's fourth down. He wouldn't have got the first down if he doesn't pitch it. So you take a little bit of a risk of a So you take a little bit of a risk there, of maybe them picking it up and scooping and scoring, but on fourth down, I understand it. Good play, great play by Noah Short. We've seen Bryson. That's probably the only mistake the kid makes is sometimes he tries to make big plays happen in desperation mode on the pitch. But again, can't really fault him in that instance. Offensive line played great all night. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. It's about time people start giving the Army defense some credit. Another game where they only gave up 7 points. And I don't want to hear about how many yards Tulsa had or how many first downs. Other commentators and analysts may care about that stuff. I don't. I don't think Nate Woody does. I don't think Jeff Monken does. And I'm in the same ballpark with them. 7 points once again. The most points Army's given up all season is 14. Really, really good defensive performance. Tulsa rotated their two quarterbacks most of the game. Uh, they had the running quarterback, the Lagasse kid, and then the passer, Kirk Franklin, I think was his name. And Army contained both those two guys pretty effectively. Didn't give up any big plays, which is the key to Army's success on defense. Um, would love to see them create a turnover, maybe, but whatever. They did a really good job and held Tulsa to only 7 points. So this defense really needs to start getting some credit. They're really talented. They do a really good job, and they really have not been hurt much by any team they've played so far this year. So really impressive job there. And then Thomas was the leading tackler with 10 total tackles, had a great game. D line had a good game. Max DiDomenico had a good game. Casey Larkin had a good game. They pretty much shut down Tulsa's big receiver. Not that he's big, but their leading receiver that's pretty much their Mr. All Everything, Camden Benjamin. They shut him down. He didn't really do much. So great job again by the Army defense. And then on special teams, it was kind of a mixed bag for Coach Saturnio's usually awesome special teams. Punt block team roughed the punter on the opening series. Kick coverage without Britton Anderson. Of course, he's out for the season with an ACL, as Coach Munkin confirmed last week, which is unfortunate. Trey Granati can't kick it to the end zone as much. So Tulsa did get some returns off. And kick coverage, I thought was a little spotty. A lot of the returns were out to the 25, 30, 35. So something definitely for Coach Saturnio to work on there is the kick coverage. Um, Punt team did a nice job. They downed the punt on the 2 yard line, so that was really good. And my last piece of commentary, maybe the only weak spot in Army's whole game that I've seen all season. They replaced Jaden Mays as the punt returner with Benson, and Benson goes in, and now you can see why Mays won the starting job at the beginning of the year. He promptly muffs a punt, which Army was blessed to recover. That's Army's third month punt of the season. Thankfully, they've recovered all three of them. But with as much talent as on this team, can we please find someone who can catch a punt? Because that's going to come back to haunt us against some of the better teams like North Texas, Tulane, the Squids. We've got to find somebody who can catch a punt on that entire roster. That's really, really hurting Army right now, I think. Like I said, hasn't really hurt them so far, actually, but could hurt them down the line. And we just can't make fundamental errors like that. That's, if the other team recovers that, that's the equivalent of a 40, 45-yard offensive play by the other team. So, really, the only thing I think Army needs to clean up their kick coverage a little bit now that Granati's kicking off and he's not quite as long as Anderson Britton, and their ability to catch punts. So that's about it. Everything else from the game was amazing. Going to be a pretty short analysis tonight. Team looked great, 49-7, best win of the season. Was Tulsa good? No. I do think they're the best team Army's played all year, and Army handled them pretty well. So that's really good. In my opinion, I've seen this Army team get better every single week they've played. I think this was their most complete game. The explosive plays showed that. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, but whatever. They scored on their first drive again. And now Army holds the longest winning streak in the nation at 9 as Missouri got smoked by Texas A&M this weekend. Also of note, did anybody watch Vanderbilt do to Alabama what Army usually does to teams where they play keep away, shrink the game, hold the ball for more than 40 minutes and run the snot out of the ball? So that formula will work against big time teams, by the way. All right, so now next week, Army comes back to Mikey Stadium after a couple weeks away and gets to host the UAB Blazers, who just got smoked by Tulane. Gave up 71 points. They lost 71-20. Wow, that's really bad. And UAB does not have a good defense. Good news for them is they played Navy, so they've already played one option team. Bad news for them is I think they gave up 48 points to Navy. So Trent Dilfer and co will have no clue how to stop Army's triple option. Expect Army to score every time they have the ball, unless they turn it over. Army's offense is just going to roll over UAB. UAB does have a pretty talented offense, so they might be able to put some points up. We'll see about that. But I mean, Coach Woody's defense has just been lights out across the board. I don't expect much of a threat from UAB if Army plays Army ball and doesn't turn the ball over. They've only turned it over once all year. They have gotten lucky on a couple fumbles. I do think their ball security needs to be a little better. Bryson Daly's been doing a really good job protecting the football through the air and only putting it where Army receivers can catch it. So that's great. And look for Army to dominate UAB next week and to go to 6-0. Gordon Larson's Monday morning quarterback coming out very soon, actually. And then you'll have my behind enemy lines on UAB Monday night, along with potentially some additional content that we've been throwing around throughout the week. Want to mention the promo, and I'm sure Charles Grievous will mention the promo in the article, but free membership to goblackknights.com, and I believe maybe even some other rival sites, but don't quote me on that. But definitely goblackknights.com through Thanksgiving. But you have to sign up by the 8th, which is Tuesday. So make sure you take advantage of that promotion and tell your friends about it. It's a great promotion. Got some great content here at GBK, as you guys know. And Army is having a season of all seasons. So really, really exciting. Great time to be an Army football fan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending. This has been Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com saying go Army, beat Navy, and beat UAB.